an area of circles worksheet. We're just going to do some examples. Do one of each type. That should probably work. Key thing to remember when you're doing this is that they want the exact as well as the approximate answer. So that means you'll end up with two answers for each one. So the first part they ask for the area, which means A equals pi r squared. And in each case they're giving you the radius. In this case it's 12 inches. So it's simply a matter of plugging that in. So pi times 12 squared. 12 squared is 144. Normally we write the number in front of pi, so the exact answer, the exact answer would be 144 pi inches squared. Remember, leaving it in terms of pi gives us the exact answer. To get the approximate answer, all we do is treat pi as the number that it is, 3.14159, or pi button, or 3.14. And if you do 144 times pi, you get 452.16. Don't forget the units. Area has units that are inches squared. And that's the approximate. Remember, it's approximate because we are indeed rounding that decimal, which makes it not, well, frankly, exact. Same sort of thing when we talk about circumference. So if we're looking at this, it's simply a matter of applying the formula. Circumference is equal to 2 pi r, which means in this case, once again, they're just giving you the radius, nice and easy. It's a huge circle, it's 8 miles as a radius. The circumference would be 2 times pi times 8, and that would be 16 pi miles. Remember, circumference is just a distance, no squared or anything like that. Now 16 times 3.14 is right around 50.24 miles. Don't forget, when you leave it in terms of pi, it's the exact, and when you have to round it, that is give the decimal, you're talking about the approximate form. So this next set gives you a circumference and asks for, well, if we read the question carefully, the radius. So that being said, we know that the circumference, there we go, C, equals 2 pi r. Now if we want to find the radius, if we knew the circumference, remember 2 and pi are just numbers, so we have 62.8, which we can plug in instead of the circumference, equals 2 times pi times r, which means then what? Well, we've got an algebraic equation to solve. To get rid of the 2 pi, because it's being multiplied, we divide. So we divide both sides by 2 times pi. Now 2 times pi, if I use 3.14, so let's say 62.8 divided by 2 times 3.14, turns out the radius in this case is a relatively nice round number, in fact 10, which is meaningless unless we give the units, which miles for the circumference, miles for the answer. So quick recap, you know the circumference, plug in the information, given the formula that relates it to the radius, and solve. Similar approach when you're talking about the area. So if they give you the area and they want you to find the, they want you to find the diameter. So what you're going to have to do is find first the radius, and then you can figure out the diameter by doubling it. So it's not a difficult operation. But we know that the area is equal to pi r squared. So we know that 201.1 inches squared is equal to pi times r squared. So using our knowledge of solving, we can simply divide both sides by pi, and then take the square root, because to undo squaring requires that we take then the square root of both sides of the equation. So 201.1 divided by pi, or you could just use 3.14. This means that the radius is equal to whatever the square root of 201.1 divided by pi is, and I got right around 8 inches. Remember, radius is not diameter, so that would mean then to find the diameter, you simply double the radius. So the diameter has got to be 16 inches, and that's it. So similar with the circumference here, the only difference is they're giving you exact answers, but I'll tell you right now this is actually pretty easy, because when you set this equal to pi r squared and then you divide both sides by pi, the pi cancels out, r squared equals 8, which means the radius is equal to 4. But wait, they want the circumference. So wait a second, if you know the radius is equal to 4, hopefully we remember that the circumference is equal to 2 times pi times 4. And I like to go easy on myself. 2 times 4 is 8, pi is pi. Besides, they gave us an exact answer before, we might as well give an exact answer back. 8 pi miles, and you're done. So similar for 25 and 26. Except you're finding the circumference first. So you're finding the circumference and then finding the area. And once you find the circumference, of course, you can get the radius. The last problem is a little bit challenging, but the area, there's a typo here. There should be an A here, so it should be area and the circumference are the same. So we know the area is equal to pi r squared, and we know the circumference is equal to 2 pi r. So we're looking at area and circumference for different radii. Like if I plug in a radius of 0, pi times 0 squared is 0. 2 times pi times 0 is 0. They're both equal, but that's not a circle, so we can't deal with that. If we plug 1 in, pi times 1 squared is, well, pi, which means the area is equal to pi, and 2 times pi times 1, when we use a radius 0, there we go, so radius 1, we get an area of pi and a circumference of 2 pi. So if you were to continue this table, experimenting with different radii, I suspect strongly you'll figure out exactly what radius it takes to get the area and circumference to be the same. That's it.